One day, a group of kids gathered around to build a secret base. The group of kids decided to make up a story of a hero saving the world. They thought of how everything would unfold and how they would save the world from the shadows, but what they didn't think of was uncovering the darkest depiction of humanity itself. This is the 20th Century Boys. Kenji was the leader of his little friend group back when he was a kid. Kenji now runs a convenience store after selling booze didn't work out. His sister dumps her daughter onto him, and he's barely the adult he once aspired to be. From wanting to save the world to becoming a rock star, Kenji never really fulfilled any of his dreams. Instead, he's now bound in sales with a baby strapped on his back. That's our main character. Some say he's a loser, but I'd say he's doing honest work. Meanwhile, what are these symbols? 5 chapters in, they're everywhere. Kenji knew what it was. It was a symbol that he and his friends made back in the day, that if you knew this symbol, you're a true friend. But now it's something different, something much more sinister and wicked. A cult had been formed with the leader revered as a god. Whatever he says, the followers follow. He is Friend, and Friend wants to destroy the world. So what's a guy with a baby got to do with this? Well, I'm glad you asked. Remember how Kenji and his friends made up a story of a hero saving the world? Well, first came the rise of an evil organization, secretly influencing society from behind the scenes. Then came the virus, San Fran, London, Osaka, all according to the Book of Prophecy. A book that a bunch of kids made was being realized by a cult. Someone sued them for copyright. But that narrows things down. If the kids came up with the events, then surely the culprit is among them. Who else knew about the secret base and the Book of Prophecy? The mystery begins. Kenji gathers his old squad to figure out who this friend is and how to beat him. But at the back of my mind, there's doubt. Are they really friends or are they friend? Now we're fucked. As you flip further and further into the chapters, the cult grows bigger and bigger and eventually integrates itself into the narrative. When you think it's a good guy, he ends up stabbing them behind the back. So you start getting really paranoid over each character's expressions. Why is he smiling like that? Your mind gets bent and your judgment gets clouded. Behind each familiar face could be a snitch that might just get our characters killed. But when you think it's a bad guy, he turns out to be good. But are we really sure he's the good guy? Now you really don't know who to trust. That's what Naoki Urasawa does to you. The same guy that took an arc from Astro Boy and made it into a sci-fi mystery thriller. That's why there's so much dialogue. 20th Century Boys is by far the longest manga I've ever read. It's not gonna hook you in on the first chapter. The art doesn't amaze you. So you're sitting there wondering, when does this get good? The story jumps from time to time and it all seems a mess, but if you've read some of Urasawa's works, you know that the charm lies within its suspense. And suspense is like a joke, it doesn't work without a good build-up. So you flip a page and read, and flip and read again and again until you're hooked. Like a Taylor Swift song. It might not sound good at first, but if you stick around, it might still be shit, I don't know. It's the manga that keeps on giving. The mysteries keep piling up and you wonder how big the iceberg really is. The entire manga is a deep dive into uncovering who's behind this mask. Just when you think the story has reached its conclusion, you look at the chapters. No. There's more than 100 left, this can't be the end. So the story eventually follows Kana, she's the baby. Then there's this girl and a god, even the priest in the Vatican. They could be tucked away in an alley on the other side of the world and he'll still have some sort of a connection with the story. The author introduces each character with the intent of making the most out of them, no matter how insignificant they may seem. He is a genius in writing stories and mysteries. So much so that he foreshadowed how the story will end in the next 22 volumes. In the first chapter, the manga really makes you think. You're not really reading it until you read what's beyond those pages. The story spans over 50 years, so you see the characters grow from when they were kids into full-fledged boomers. Urasawa wanted to explore how childhood shapes adulthood and how easily narratives shape perception. That's what makes it dark. I just finished the Diddy documentary and I think, wow, this is amazing. I got to learn a lot from it. The dark side of celebrity worship. What happens when the wrong people get put into power. It's not something new, in fact, it's been happening for centuries for all we know. And when I read the manga, it almost reflects the same patterns of power and manipulation. You realize how easy it is to control society when the right pieces are put into play. 20th Century Boys is not about defeating evil, but rather understanding how it's born. At some point, you're gonna look at the bad guys and think, oh fuck, they kinda make sense. Are they really bad guys or just guys with a bad sense of justice? See, Naoki Urasawa doesn't just write evil without cause. There are struggles with identity, struggles with control and attention. You learn that ultimately no one's really evil. They're just struggling. Slowly, what you fear is not the bad guys anymore. Instead, it's not knowing the difference between good and bad. Well, now you got me fucked up. Friend's influence becomes the highlight, but your focus shifts onto the people. Why are they doing what he says? Where's the peace holders when you need them? What happens when people prioritize emotional comfort instead of seeking the truth? You cannot ignore the jabs that Urasawa takes on the world. He repeatedly pokes at how society functions over fear and how easily people give in the face of comfort, which really makes you think. Who's the real villain? Because one man can't cause evil, it has to be the people that are enabling it. But Urasawa doesn't tell you what to believe. He loves to leave his stories open to interpretation. That's why there's no definitive ending to the manga. You draw your own conclusions and believe what you want to believe, which I think is the whole point of this manga. For you to think, because the people in the story aren't thinking. They aren't thinking! He quietly critiques a world that values comfort over truth, in hopes that maybe the readers would start thinking for themselves. Because the real heroes aren't the ones who save the world in grand visible ways, no. They're the ones who refuse to stop caring when it would be easier to just walk away. Because when I see this panel, I see someone being oppressed, trying to voice the truth no one dares to speak. It is not Friend that's the darkest depiction of humanity, but the people that are blindly accepting it. His followers religiously enforce his will without hesitation. You see schools, media, and youth groups normalize Friend's ideology, how Friend's authority survives contradictions even when so many inconsistencies appear. The truth is irrelevant once belief becomes identity. It's like knowing Diddy did what he did, but can't prove that Diddy did what he did he?
This is amazing.
Catastrophic events happen repeatedly, yet life continues and people just adapt to the horror. And I'm not talking about the manga. We are fucked if we think suffering is normal. The purest part of humanity lies within our imagination, and that is the blueprint of our extinction. It's not a warning, it's already happening. It's been happening. Long ago, a group of kids made up a story to save the world. Then everything changed when Friend and his cult attacked. Only the 9 brave warriors, the key to solving all mysteries, could stop them. And although they might have the blueprints of what will unfold, they're gonna need a lot more to defeat a false god. But I believe they can save the world.
Frightening development this morning. A chemical weapon, nerve gas, was released inside a crowded subway system in Tokyo today.
The culprits, Aum Shinrikyo, were about to catapult to international infamy.
They saw themselves as having this ultimate truth. The only way to save the world was to effectively destroy it.
Diddy, come on out.
Does it ever not get black? Like, does it just stay black the whole way through?
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than that.